Hi guys, welcome back. Today I have another deck tech for you, and this is a Tiny Leaders deck tech. If you don't know what Tiny Leaders is, check out my Tiny Leaders intro that I'll be uploading soon. If so, there will be an annotation on your screen so that you can go to that right away. So before further ado, let's get on to this Tiny Leaders deck tech. So the commander for this Tiny Leaders deck is Athreos, God of Passage. It's a 5/4 indestructible legendary enchantment creature for which costs 3. One generic, one white, and one black. It has as long as your devotion to white and black is less than 7. Athreos isn't a creature. Whenever another creature you own dies, return it to your hand unless target opponent pays 3 life. So this is an aristocrat's deck, but it's not a typical aristocrat's deck. So you're not sacrificing some creatures and trying to get them back. You're sacrificing Shadowborn Apostles. So Shadowborn Apostle is a 1 mana 1/1, and it costs 1 black. And it has a deck can have any number of cards named Shadowborn Apostle. So we have 15 of these in this deck. It also has pay 1 black, sacrifice 6 creatures named Shadowborn Apostles, and then search your library for a demon creature card and put it onto the battlefield. Then shuffle your library. So we're gonna be sacrificing Shadowborn Apostles, and getting demon creatures, and usually your opponent's okay in the early game to pay just 3 life and not have you get back a creature. But when you're having 6 of the same 1/1s, your opponent's not gonna be able to take 18 damage, so they're gonna have to let you take your Shadowborn Apostles back, which then you can cast them again, and you can end up getting a lot of demons and just beat them with these creatures. So that's how it combos well with Athreos, and these are the two key cards in this deck. After that, we have some demons that we are going to be tutoring for. So one of them is Amit Eternal, a new card from Hour of Devastation. Um, it's a 5/5 for 3. It costs 2 generic and 1 black. It has Afflict 3, and whenever an opponent casts a spell, put a -1/-1 counter on it. And then whenever Amit Eternal deals combat damage to a player, remove all -1/-1 counters from it. So this is a really good body. You can just sacrifice your apostles and search your library for this. And also, even if you do draw this card, it's still pretty easy to play, which I like about this deck since it's Tiny Leaders. All of these demons, even if you do draw them, you can still cast them, um, but you won't be able to cast them for free. Here, after Eternal, we have Demonic Taskmaster, which it's a 4/3 with flying for 3, 1 black and 2 generic, and then it has at the beginning of your upkeep sacrifice a creature other than Demonic Taskmaster. So this is supposed to be a drawback for it being such a good creature for such a low converted mana cost. But in our deck, since we're trying to sacrifice creatures, it's not that big of a deal, and we have a bunch of Shadowborn Apostles to sacrifice. Um, Another one is Soul Cage Fiend. When it dies, each player loses 3 life. So you can just put this onto the battlefield, and then when it dies, the opponent is already losing 3 life, and then they have to lose 6 life in order for it to go away permanently. So 6 life is a pretty large chunk of their life total, which is really great about it. And then if you get it back, you can cast it again. And also, it's great with some of the other cards like Demonic Taskmaster, because you can just sacrifice it, and your opponent has to lose 3 life. So with Treacherous Pit Dweller, which is the 4th demon in this deck, um, it's a it's a 4/3 for 2 black, and when it enters from the graveyard, target opponent gains control of it. So and it has Undying. So you're supposed to be you're supposed to be sacrificing this, and then your opponent gets it because it goes in your graveyard, and then it has Undying, so it comes back. But in this deck, if your opponent wants this Treacherous Pit Dweller, they have to take 3 damage, which, if they can't take 3 damage, you can keep casting it, and it's a great card, just a 2 mana 4/3, which is really great. And then your opponent's likely to take the 3 damage, which is additional damage. I mean, that's we're trying to win by quickly dealing the death damage to them, so that's actually pretty good deal if they take it and then take 3 damage instead. So that's also pretty good in for this deck. Now here are some win conditions. So you have Zulport, Cutthroat, and Blood Artist. They drain 6 life every time we tutor for demons with Shadowborn Apostles. Gavany Unhollowed. Uh, it gains 6 -1 +1/+1 counters when you tutor, and it becomes an 8/10 if you just put it onto the battlefield and then tutor for a demon, which is really big. Pious Evangel, if you're playing a bunch of apostles, you can play Pious Evangel, and then you can also sacrifice another permanent and transform it. And then when creatures die, the opponent is losing life and you're gaining life, which is very similar to Blood Artist. But also, Pious Evangel is a little better because you can cast your 6 Shadowborn Apostles, you gain a bunch of life, and then you can transform it and drain a bunch of life too. So this is Pious Evangel is also really good in this deck. Spoils of Blood is 1 mana for a guaranteed 6/6 if you've tutored for a card. So you can sacrifice your Shadowborn Apostles, get a demon, and get a 6/6 unless like more creatures have died, because there's ways to cast Shadowborn Apostles for free. So it's possible to get a really massive creature with Spoils of Blood, and you can just win the game with Spoils of Blood alone, which is why it's a win condition. Here are some utility cards. We have Skull Clamp. You can put these on the Apostles and you can draw 2 cards. This is great if we're stuck somewhere and we just need some extra card draw to get more Apostles or just some good cards to cast. We also have Edgewalker, which allows us to play the Apostles for free, because Shadowborn Apostle is a human cleric, and it says cleric spells you play cost 1 white and 1 black less to play. This effect reduces only the amount of colored mana you pay, which this is really good. I mean, you can just cast free cards in your deck, and that is just really useful for this deck. Because I mean, you have to pay 6 mana, 7 mana actually, to tutor for demon, and then you can save on 6 of the mana if you have an Edgewalker, which, I mean, Edgewalker is really good if you have it over a bunch of turns. It really helps you out a lot. Another creature that's really good is Tessa Orzhov Scion. It says sacrifice 3 white creatures, remove target creature from the game, so basically exile target creature. And then whenever another black creature you control is put into a graveyard from play, put a 1/1 white spirit creature token with flying into play. So if you have this and you tutor for a demon with Shadowborn Apostles, and when I say tutor for a demon in this video, I mean sacrificing 6 Shadowborn Apostles. So whenever you tutor for a demon, you get 6 1/1 spirits with flying. So 1/1 flying creatures, 6 of them. And also you can sacrifice them and exile 2 creatures. 2 whole creatures with Shadowborn Apostle. This is a really great card to have in this deck. And it really helps you out. You can just exile your opponent's big creatures, and I mean, you're getting a lot of value out of Tessa. And if your opponent doesn't have too many creatures, or you have already done this and exiled all their creatures, 1/1 white spirits are with flying are really good. I mean, you can just swing in, and even if they have some flying or reach creatures, you're gonna deal some chip damage to them, which is really nice. Soul Ring, it's a commander staple, really good in this deck too. You can cast some cards. Some of the cards like Pious Evangel, Gavany Unhollowed, and Amit Eternal, they do cost 2 colorless. So this is gonna help out when casting those, but it's not too good in this deck as it is in other decks, because mostly you require black mana or white mana and not any colorless mana. Some removal in this deck, we have Declaration in Stone, Fatal Push, and Anguish Stun Making. But do remember that Tessa is also really good removal. And then some of the other cards, like over here, are good removal too. I mean, Aim Eternal, you're not either gonna have to block it or take 3 or 4 damage to the face. It is really good. So you are probably likely to have it blocked, and then since it's such a big creature, you're likely to also kill something your opponent has. Um, so we only have 3 cards. So we have Fatal Push, which is great in Tiny Leaders because converted mana cost 2 is like you can only have cards with converted mana cost up to 3 in Tiny Leaders. So basically you're killing most of the creatures for one black without revolt. And then revolt is so easy to activate. It's an aristocrats deck. I mean, um, so you can basically just get rid of any creature. The revolt basically in this deck says destroy target creature because converted mana cost 4 or less. All creatures have converted mana cost 4 or less. So Anguish Unmaking is another card that is removal. It is extreme removal. I mean, exile target non-land permanent, you lose 3 life. So this is like your opponent's killing your creatures. You have no way to get rid of their one creature. You Anguished Unmaking it because, I mean, you lose 3 life, but that's not too bad if you're getting to exile a really big creature. But you do have Tesa where you're able to exile 2 creatures for just sacrificing your spirits that you get. So then we have lands. We have 18 lands in this deck. We have a Cabal Coffers. Um, and so Cabal Coffers, you can pay 2 and tap it. So this is another place where Soul Ring comes in. You can just pay the Soul Ring cost and then for Cabal Coffers. So basically, Cabal Coffers, you pay 2 and tap it. Add 1 black to your mana pool for each swamp you control. And this combo is also really well with Urborg, Tomb of Yawgmoth, where each land is a swamp in addition to its other land types. So all your lands are swamps also. So even your plains are basically white-black dual lands, which Urborg is really good with Cabal Coffers too, since all your lands generate 1 black mana with Cabal Coffers. So Orzhov Basilica, it's a bounce land, white-black bounce land, pretty self-explanatory. Orzhov Guildgate, it's just a white-black tap land. Godless Shrine, I mean, it's a decent dual land if you need something that enters the battlefield untapped. Godless Shrine is pretty good for that. Scared Baron's a little bit of life gain, it's just a tap land. Nothing too special. I guess you could consider it a slightly better copy of Orzhov Guildgate. After that, we have 5 plains and 7 swamps. So, this was the 50-card deck using Athreos, God of Passage. And I have a link to the tapped out page for this deck if you want to go check it out, use the playtest. And I hope you enjoyed this, and I will see you guys next time.